This is Jarrod Horak, and in this video, I'm going to take a look at all 5 stakes races at Aqueduct on Saturday, September 27th. And the past performances in this video are provided by todaysracingdigest.com, and we will begin with the 4th race, the Grade 3 Belmont Turf Sprint for 3-year-olds and up, 6 furlongs on the outer turf course. The scheduled post time is 2:07 p.m. Eastern Time, and looking at this field, there doesn't seem to be a ton of pace, and that could help number 2, Dancing Buck. This is his 2nd start of the year, and I think he will move forward in here. We'll see if that's going to be enough to get the job done. Now, I will give out my top 4 contenders in here, beginning with my 4th choice, number 4, Alogon. And this one finished 3rd in this event last year. Now, he does have tactical speed, so I think he can be within hailing distance of the leaders. And I mentioned number 2, Dancing Buck, and he will be my 3rd choice in here. He is 6-1 morning line. Now, he did wire the field in the elusive quality stakes, 6 furlongs on turf at Aqueduct. That was last May. And then he did come off of a long layoff last time, and he didn't have a great start. He chased the pace and he weakened. He was 6th in a 7-horse field. That was the Disco Partner Stakes, and that was at Saratoga on August 31st. As I said, without a lot of pace in this event, if he can get more aggressive in here and get up there on the pace, I think he can hang around for a while. But we'll see if he's fit enough in his 2nd start after a layoff, if he's going to be able to move forward enough. My 2nd choice will be the 3, Senbei, and this one is 7-2 morning line. Now, he did win this race last fall, and he's one that does have some tactical ability, so I think that he's one that could end up working a decent trip somewhere in mid-pack, most likely. So for Senbei, he is my 2nd choice in here. I'm going to go with the 5, 26 Black as my top choice, and he was my top choice last time. Now, he is the 9-5 morning line favorite, and he has the ability to close, or he can also track the pace as well. Now, he did close nicely to finish 2nd, a Grade 2 race at Saratoga. That was 5.5 furlongs on turf. That was on August 3rd, and he got a 1:46 final time rating. And Flavien Prat rode him that day, and then he rode him back last time out in that Disco Partner Stakes, and I did make him my top choice, and he was able to win that race nicely. That was on August 31st. 5.5 furlongs on turf, and he showed good positional speed there. Was a couple lengths off the lead. He pounced and made the lead, and he won nicely by more than 2 lengths, getting a 1:44 final time rating. And looking at some of his other Today's Racing Digest numbers, his fire numbers in those last 2 starts, a 98 and a 97, the fire number is speed throughout a race. And then his comprehensive performance ratings, the CPRs, which takes into account pace, final time, and closing fraction, he had back-to-back 143s in those last 2 starts. So he looks like the now horse. He's sharp right now. He's got some positional speed, so I think Pratt's probably put him just off the lead. And I think that 26 Black will run another quality race in here. He may not offer a ton of value, but I do think that he is the most likely winner of this event. Now, the next stakes race at Aqueduct on the 27th is the 5th race. This is the Grade 1 Joe Hirsch Turf Classic. This one goes off at 2:37 p.m. Eastern Time as the 5th race at 1.5 miles on the turf course for 3-year-olds and up. So for this one, Charles Appleby has a couple horses, including Rebel's Romance, and Rebel's Romance is your even money favorite. He's got a ton of class. He's a world traveler. He's won Grade 1 races all around the world, and he's just probably the one to beat in here under Frankie Dettori. And then El Cordobes is the other Charles Appleby trainee, and he came in and he won the Grade 1 Sword Dancer at Saratoga in his last start. Now, Flavien Prat rode him that day, but he's going to ride for trainer Chad Brown in here, number 2, Redistricting. So John Velasquez will ride El Cordobes. We have Farbridge on the outside for trainer Miguel Clement with Joel Rosario. Now, he disappointed in that Sword Dancer, but he's one that had good turf form prior to that. We'll see if he can work out some kind of decent trip from post 5 in this compact field. And we also have Rebel Red, number 4, in this race as well. So El Cordobes, I'll pick him as my 2nd choice. He's one that I liked him last time. I think he was my 2nd choice last time as well. And he did run a quality race in that Sword Dancer. And if he can run back to that kind of race under John Velasquez from the inside post, I can see him just right behind the lead, saving the ground. My top choice will be Rebel's Romance. I think he's going to be tough to beat as the favorite in here. He's just the class of the field, and I expect Frankie Dettori to put him up close to the lead in this event. Now, as I said, he has a lot of class. He did win the Breeders' Cup Turf last year. That was at Del Mar. getting a 1:46 final time rating. And so that was a good effort on his part that day. And he's won the Breeders' Cup Turf a couple times. So Rebels Romance, he's got a lot of class, and they're probably going to go for the Breeders' Cup Turf again. They're using this race as their prep race for that event. And I just think he's going to be right up on a slow pace in here, and his class will get him to prevail. As I said, El Cordobes is my second choice, and I'll make Redistricting my third choice. From post 2, I think Pratt can give him a decent ride. He's sharp from Monmouth Park. Victories in his last 2 stake starts, including a Grade 2 victory at 1 mile and 3/8 on turf at Monmouth on July 19th. So that was a good effort, getting a 1:47 final time rating. So he's finally back in good form. And up next is the 6th race, the Grade 2 $300,000 Woodward Stakes for 3-year-olds and up at 1 mile and 1/8 on the main track. And the scheduled post time is 3:08 p.m. Eastern Time. Now we're starting with a 7-horse field here, but multiple horses are cross-entered in other spots. So we'll have to see how many horses actually run in this race. Now looking at this event, number 3, Willy D's is cross-entered in the Grade 2 Lucas Classic at Churchill Downs on Saturday. And I did a video for that race, and you can watch that one on my channel if you're interested. Now 3 other horses are entered in a different spot. The 1, Awesome Aaron, the 4, Film Star, and the 5, Gould's Gold. They are all entered in the Battery Park Stakes at Delaware Park on Sunday, September 28th. So if all of those horses run in different spots, that would leave a 3-horse field. The 2 post time, the 6 Phileas Fogg, and the 7 Locked. So we will look at those 3 in this event, beginning with post time. And post time is 12 for 20 lifetime for trainer Brittany Russell. 19 of 20 starts in the top 3. Very consistent horse from off the pace. And when they've been running him at his home base at Laurel Park this year, he's been dominating, including a 17-length victory in the Polynesian Stakes in the mud at 1 mile last time out. Now in a 3-horse field, most likely he will be trying to rally from last place in here. Phileas Fogg, the 6, he looks like the one to catch. He was in the Jockey Club Gold Cup last time. Now he's the one that came in and caused all that trouble, and that caused a mind frame to lose his rider, and then Sierra Leone in last having to jump over fallen rider Irad Ortiz Jr. But Phileas Fogg chased from second that day, took the lead in the stretch, and then he ended up finishing a solid 3rd. He's having a good year. He was disqualified that day and placed 7th. Now overall, he's had 5 starts, 2 wins, and 2 second-place finishes. At Aqueduct, 4 starts with 3 wins and a runner-up finish, and then at the distance, 4 starts with 2 wins and a second. So Phileas Fogg under Kendrick Harmouche, most likely the one to catch. But I will pick Locked as my top choice in here. He's 5 for 10 lifetime, 9 of 10 starts in the top 3, and he's 2 for 2 at Aqueduct. So we know he likes this oval. He won the Grade 2 Cigar Mile at Aqueduct in 2024. He began this year in the Pegasus World Cup. He was a distant second behind Runaway winner and Gulfstream Park specialist White Abarrio. And White Abarrio and show finisher Skippy Longstocking were next out stakes winners. Locked as well was a next out stakes winner when he shipped to Santa Anita Park for the Grade 1 Big Cap, and he romped at 1 mile and a quarter that day by more than 8 lengths. And then in the Ali Sheba Stakes, his stablemate Fierceness won that one, and Locked was a disappointing 4th. The race just didn't set up for him. And then in the Suburban, same thing. He didn't get a great pace set up at 1 mile and 1/8. He was the beaten favorite there. Phileas Fogg won that one. Antiquarian was second. Antiquarian was the next out winner. And for Locked, he was just best of the rest in 3rd. But now he seems to be training well, possibly coming back to that good big cap form. And I would expect him most likely to be sitting in 2nd just off of Phileas Fogg, setting the pace. And he's going to try to run that one down in the stretch. And we'll see if he can do that. We know he likes this oval. Good distance for him. And I think that Locked has a decent shot to get the job done in this event and bounce back from his below par form that he has been showing recently. And we have 2 stakes races to go, and up next is the Grade 2 $250,000 Gallant Bloom Stakes for fillies and mares, and they are going to be dashing 6.5 furlongs on the main track. 4:10 p.m. Eastern Time is the scheduled post time. We have a lot going on in this race. There looks like there's a fair amount of speed. You have Our Disaster breaking from the inside post for trainers Safi Joseph Jr. and Jose Ortiz is aboard, and she is 3-1 morning line. So she's the inside speed in here, and she's never finished out of the exacta 11 career starts. Senza Parole, number 8 for trainer Chad Brown, has plenty of speed as well, and she's 7-2 morning line. Dylan Davis is going to ride, and she's a 3-year-old filly. She's only raced twice, so she's one that should be right on the pace. And some other fillies are capable of impacting the pace as well. So I think we're going to have an honest pace in this event, and I'll give out my top contenders in here. The horse that I picked to finish 4th is Our Disaster, but she could certainly do better than that. It just depends how hard she has to be used from that inside post to get position. As I said, 1st or 2nd in all 11 career starts. And from that inside post, Jose Ortiz is going to have to send her out of there. Now, she did race twice at 6.5 furlongs. She missed by a neck in both of those races. My third choice is Sterling Silver, number 5 for trainer Belmont, and she's 7-2 morning line. Now she's going to turn back in distance, and she's moving back to the main track in here. Now she did finish in the top 3 in 12 of 13 starts at Aqueduct, and she did finish 3rd in this event last year, so she will be my underneath key. Senza Parole will be my second choice. She's all upside for Chad Brown. She was visually impressive in her career debut at Saratoga last summer, and then the runner-up was the next out winner, so that race was validated. But then she was injured and she disappeared for a year, and she returned and she had a clear lead in the stretch in her last start. That was at Saratoga on August 24th, but she blew that lead and she ended up finishing 2nd that day. So she probably needed that race. Chad Brown is 27% with horses making their 2nd start off a layoff, and she'll be right up on the pace, and she's got a better post than Our Disaster, so she may be able to sit right off of that one and try to get that first jump turning for home. I'm going to go with the 2 Impel, 6-1 morning line as my top choice for trainer Brad Cox, and she does exit back-to-back victories. Now, Impel is in good form with those back-to-back 1-mile wins at Churchill and Ellis Park, including the Groupie Doll Stakes last time out, and she's earned some decent enough numbers. She'll have to run a little bit faster in here. She got a 132 final time rating at Churchill and then a 135 at Ellis Park, so she will have to run a bit faster. But the way that this race shapes up, and she does have some positional speed, I can see her saving ground behind the speed, getting a good trip under Flavien Prat in this event. And some of her other numbers, her fire number last time, a 104 fire number, that's speed throughout a race. So that was a good number there. And she got an improved comprehensive performance rating of 142. And that takes into account pace, final time, and closing fraction. So Impel is going to be my 6-1 value top choice in the Gallant Bloom. And we'll have wagering strategies for this race. I'll bet the 2 Impel to win. We'll play it exactly with the 2-8, with the 2-5-8. So I'm putting Sterling Silver in 2nd, and then I'll key Sterling Silver in 3rd in the trifecta. That trifecta is 1-2-8 with 1-2-8 with the 5 keyed in 3rd. And the final stakes race for Aqueduct for September 27th is the 9th race, the Grade 3 Vosburgh Stakes. This is a 7-furlong event for 3-year-olds and up, and a 4:41 p.m. Eastern Time post time in here. And this race has a little bit of a, we're not sure quite how the pace is going to play out in here. So the pace looks a little bit muddled in here. I think Super Chow is one that could go out there and be part of the pace. The 1 Scotland will be rallying from off the pace. The 2 Nash probably sitting somewhere in mid-pack. Same with Doc Sullivan. You have Baby Yoda capable of being somewhat forwardly placed in here. A Crazy Mason will be last early, trying to pass them all. Patriot Spirit should be fairly close to the pace as well. So now we'll look at my top contenders in this event, and I'll give out my top 5 in here. And I'll start with Nash. Nash is a horse I always like. I had him on my Derby list when he was a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, but he never panned out on the road to the Derby. He was distance challenged, but he's been very consistent throughout his career with 11 trifecta finishes from 13 career starts. And he's had 2 poor performances in his career in the Grade 1 Woody Stevens and the Grade 2 Vanderbilt last time out. And in both of those races, he did not have good starts and he never really got involved. So I think if he can just get a good start under Flavien Prat, who is 35% with Brad Cox recently, I think that he can work out an inner trip, tracking the pace right behind the speed. The horse that I picked to finish 4th is the 1 Scotland. And he's one that used to be able to be forwardly placed, but he's more of a closer now, and he exits a good effort in his last start. And he's one that does like the 7 furlong distance with 2 wins, 3 seconds, and a 3rd place finish from 7 starts. And for him, he did finish second in this event last year. So we know that he's run well at Aqueduct before in this event. So look for him saving ground off the pace. He's going to need some pace help. Doc Sullivan, a New York bred, he'll be my next choice in here, my third choice. And he ran okay last time out. Bookham Dano was too good that day. Now, Crazy Mason in Scotland. Scotland was second that day in that four-go. Crazy Mason was third. Doc Sullivan was fourth. And he ran an okay race that day. And he has been better since moving to the John Ortiz barn. So for Doc Sullivan, I can definitely see him at least working out a mid-pack trip. He's 6-1 morning line, and maybe he'll outrun his odds. Crazy Mason, the one they're all going to have to hold off. And he did go last to first in 3 races at Aqueduct this year, including the Grade 2 Carter, and that was at this 7 furlong distance. And he rallied to finish third in the Grade 2 True North. That was in the slop. They shipped him to California. He was unplaced in the Grade 1 Bing Crosby, and then he returned to New York. A decent effort, running on to finish third in the four-go last time out. So regardless of, even if the pace is slower, he's going to close. He always does close. And if you look at some of his races, even races that he has won when he was so sharp this year, it might have been against lesser company, but he didn't get a ton of pace help, but he rallied to win anyway. So Crazy Mason, outside post, if he can get enough pace help, he could easily run past them all. I'll go with Patriot Spirit. He's 5-1 morning line. He does exit a nice stakes win at Colonial Downs as the favorite. So he did what he had to do at Colonial Downs last time out. So that was a nice, solid effort. And I like horses with early pressing speed, breaking from outer posts in extended sprints. So he has post 8, and I think that he might be able to work out a decent enough trip in this event. So if they do go, some of those horses towards the inside go, especially Super Chow, I can see Patriot Spirit working out a decent trip. And his numbers have been good recently. He got a 147 final time rating, finishing a close second in a 1-mile race at Churchill Downs in the slop. That was in May. And then last time at Colonial Downs, he got a 150 final time rating. And looking at some of his other ratings, his fire numbers, a 102 and a 98 in his last 2 starts. And then his comprehensive performance ratings, a 141 and a 139, much improved over his other form. So he's in really good form right now. He's got that good early pressing speed in an outer post, and he's also 5-1, so I like that as well. So that's a look at the stakes races at Aqueduct for Saturday, September 27th. And if you're interested in my full card analysis, I offer full cards at Santa Anita Park each day. They began their autumn meet on September 26th. They run straight through from September 26th through October 26th. And then after that, I'm going to be covering the Del Mar Fall Meet from October 30th through November 30th, including both Breeders' Cup days on October 31st and November 1st. I'm also going to be doing Saturday full cards at Keeneland this fall, beginning in October. So check all that out if you're interested at therunawayhorse.com on my shop page, and I will include a link to that shop page in the video description below. And then also, you can find my full cards at todaysracingdigest.com on my handicappers page at that website. And don't forget to like, comment, and share these videos if you like them. Subscribe to my channel as well. It's free to subscribe. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races.